welcome to the It Doesn't Hold Up podcast. We review and reevaluate all things remember fondly from our childhood and years prior to see if they still hold up. And more often than not, they probably don't. I'm Stuart Shepherd, along with my co-host and good friend, Michael Smith. Smith, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Stu. How are you?
I'm very, very well. And who do you love?
Damon! Or Killian. What do they say?
Uh,
Killian?
Damon. Yeah, I was expecting you to say
Yeah.
Stu, but that's fine.
No.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
No,
matter.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't
And then
matter.
his catchphrase, yes!
Yes. Anyway.
Daniel Bryan of dystopian fiction.
Exactly. Light years ahead of its time. Right. Before we get into said nomination, just want to talk about last episode's feedback, which was Beethoven. So we received a ton of feedback for this. So I'm just going to pick out the highlights because there's far too many to go through. So at the top, this film is so good.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Roll Over Beethoven was by Chuck Berry. We stand
Yes, so I was going to correct myself on that one. It was by Chuck Berry. It also was covered by the Beatles.
By the Chuck Berry. It's Chuck Berry.
By the Chuck Berry. It's by the Chuck Berry. It's by the Chuck himself. It was covered by the Beatles, which you said, and I shot you down. And it wasn't done by MC5. It was done by Mountain. So basically, I talked absolute shit.
Like you do on every episode. But yeah, there you go.
I've never knowingly been wrong in my life until that point.
Sure.
And I apologise. It's the last time it will ever happen.
Yeah, send your hate mail to one Michael Smith.
Yes, please do. Yeah. Send me all of your hate mail. I don't get enough of it.
All of the hate mail.
I just want to feel like I'm connected to other people.
Exactly. Even if it is hate. Anyway, back to the feedback. One thing that certainly didn't hold up was the 26-year age gap between Charles Grodin and Bonnie Hunt.
No. Jesus.
You
don't notice it. I didn't notice it when I was a kid.
No.
In high def, you really fucking notice it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wasn't watching high def. I was watching a shitty DVD copy. Anyway, great episode. Couldn't believe how vividly every part of this movie came back to me as you talked through it. Given it must have been over 25 years since I've seen it, and I dread to think how many times I must have watched it as a kid. Thank you. And the best bit of feedback we got was rice.
So I've worked out now if I ever have kids and I have a daughter, I'm gonna call her rice.
Rice. Oh, anyway. Anything else you want to say about Beethoven, or should we put that to bed?
Nope. I said all I need to say about Beethoven, especially rice.
Anyway, moving on. So this episode's nomination was The Running Man from 1987, which came from me. So it's the story of Ben Richards, a disgraced policeman who is framed for a crime he didn't commit, then promptly goes on the run as a fugitive, is recaptured, and is inserted into a deadly game called The Running Man, where contestants run for their freedom and, have to battle against dangerous stalkers, as they're known, or I guess bounty hunters. But yeah, that is The Running Man. Interestingly, though, it came out in America in November 1987, and we didn't get it till September 1988, which I thought was bizarre. I thought, why did it take nearly a year for it to come out in the UK?
Maybe they didn't think we were ready for it. Its uncompromising vision of a dystopian future. They thought the Brits are currently in the middle of another Thatcher government. They can't handle what their future holds for them.
Certainly not. Though some of this film does get it right in terms of what it predicts. But yeah, it's a bit like Back to the Future 2 when you watch it back. Oh yeah, they got that right.
Yeah, some of it I was watching like, and you sort of almost take it for granted because you see it in everything now. And you think, deep fake technology. Oh yeah, big TV screens outside. Like, oh no, hold on. That wasn't a thing in the 80s.
No, like Alexa technology, that sort of thing. So yeah, there you go. So even though we got it in 1988, for the purpose of this, we're going to pretend it was 1987. So Smith, I don't know what you're doing. Are you doing the proper 1987 Sing Setting or Weekly World News, or what the hell are you doing? I give up with what you're doing.
Because I've done whatever I had time to do in the 5 minutes before I left the office. It's not a proper news because we've already done that. So I've gone back to our friends at the Weekly World News to see what was happening in alternative news in 1987. And
sure,
hold on to your hat. Right. So here are the headlines from the Weekly World News from 1987. Titanic survivor found on iceberg. She thinks it's April 1925 and her dress is still wet. She'd be dead. Woman finds ring in fish dinner. A woman lost her wedding ring after taking a dip in the sea, only to find it 2 weeks later in a fish that she ordered at a restaurant.
I mean, that'd be
I
quite
think this woman
spectacular.
was trying to get compensation from the restaurant by putting a ring in it. An opinion piece from the Weekly World News: cats are for sissies, real men like dogs.
I mean, I like dogs.
Top expert warns your co-worker may be a space alien.
I
Which
mean,
one?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Revealed America's ultimate weapon: lady wrestlers used as secret agents.
Jesus.
I don't understand. I mean, it kind of fits with the theme of the film, but I don't really understand it. And the final headline: pretty co-ed dies during wet t-shirt contest, and judges award prize to her family. That's all right then.
What
It's what they
are
would
the
have wanted.
what are the rules of a wet t-shirt contest? It's just whoever looks the sexiest. Like what?
Whoever's t-shirt is wettest.
My water.
um, I I don't know what the rules of submitting news to the Weekly World News are,
No,
because
no, there
a
isn't.
headline with a full article called "Titanic Survivor Found on Iceberg" is clearly not true.
No, clearly not.
She apparently hadn't aged a day.
No, perfectly cryogenically frozen on that iceberg. Anyway,
Anyway,
right.
there we go.
Ed-
That was all the news that was fit for printing in the Weekly World News, and I'm not including all of the adverts or diet pill supplements.
Fine, fine. That's 1987. Cool. Right. So, The Running Man. How old were you when you first saw this, and how did you come about it?
So I would have been about 9 or 10,
Hmm.
give or take, and I had it on VHS that my mother bought for me from Morrison's.
That's very specific.
As I remember it, it was either that or The Stuff, and I went with The Running Man.
The
And
stuff?
then and I didn't see The Stuff until many, many years later.
The hell is the stuff?
You never seen The Stuff?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. All right, I'll lend you my copy of it. It's kind of a horror film about sentient food,
Oh, yeah.
and people eat the stuff, and it sort of turns them into zombies.
Oh, yeah. I like the sound of that. Yeah, let me that. Cool.
It's not as good as it sounds. It's a bit weird, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Mine's a bit of a strange one with this. So I remember summer 1991, so I would have been 6, coming up to 7.
Yeah.
The Terminator was on TV, yeah, and it was on BBC One, and it was cut to shit. Yeah, so I was watching it with my mum of all people, and she was like, "Oh, I think they've cut loads of stuff out of this film." And then my dad confirmed later, "Oh yeah, yeah, there was loads of stuff cut out of that." So me and my brother was really disappointed. So it was either with his birthday money or Christmas money, but he wanted to buy the uncut version of the Terminator, and he bought it, but it came in a double pack with the Running Man. And do you remember those big, thick double packs? Not like
Yeah.
not a movie with 2 movies on it, a videotape with 2 movies on it. It was
Like the
actually a double pack.
Ghostbusters
Yes,
2 one that had
exactly.
the
No.
weird episodes of black and white Batman in the middle of it for some reason.
And that's not the first time we've mentioned that on this podcast. But yes, no.
Oh.
This was 2 video cassettes in our massive box, and one of them was The Running Man. So we watched The Terminator. We're like, oh, cool, yeah, that is uncut. That is cool. And then we're like, oh, what's this movie? And we watched The Running Man. I'm like, oh, fucking A, this is great. Like, it's not as good as Terminator, but it's goddamn good. So yeah, I would have been way too young to have watched this. I think I would have been, yeah, about 7 years old, and I would have watched it. Yeah, back
Perfect
to
age
back.
for the Terminator.
Oh yeah. Running
Oh,
Man.
yeah.
Oh no.
I'd say that the Running Man is probably better for like a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old because it's simpler. Because
Yes.
it's not got that nuance. It's very much person runs from A to B, fighting one baddie
Yeah.
at a time. It's
Yeah.
the kind of film that when I was a kid, I'd absolutely love, because it's futuristic, it's a bit different, and it's very simple to follow.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you've probably just covered what we loved about it as a kid later on. But that's fine. We'll come back to it. Cool.
I can repeat myself, Stu.
And you
I'm
will.
not above repeating myself ad nauseum because I've forgotten what I said.
Yeah. And then this time, rewatching it, I had a terrible time because I recorded it off film 4, and I was like, "Fucking A, I love choosing films that I don't have to pay for because I've already recorded them." And then my Sky Q box decided to blow up. I was like, "No!" And then what am I gonna do?
Are you exaggerating, or did it literally blow up?
No, it didn't blow up. The hard drive stopped working, and I had to get a
God,
Sky engineer out, and he gave me a new box, but I lost all my
I had
recordings.
to make him a cup of tea, and that tea ain't free, It's got to come from somewhere.
Exactly. But no, I lost all of my recordings, including The Running Man. So I was like, shit, how am I going to watch it in prep for this episode without paying for it? I'm such a cheap ass. All I had to do is pay £3 on Sky Store. But anyway, I went on 4 on demand, and it was available for like another week or so. So then I watched it and then watched it again to make my notes. So I watched this way ahead of this episode.
I bought it on Blu-ray.
Yeah. For how much?
I think it was $7.99. It's quite pricey. Um, it doesn't have any extras
Oh,
at all, and the scene selection is weird. It skips about half the film at a time, so not great. And the transfers are not great. So still, I'm glad I own it.
mm,
The tagline for the film is a game nobody survived, but Schwarzenegger has yet to play.
yeah.
Um, Schwarzenegger plays a character called Ben Richards. It's not actually Arnie himself. The box seems to be slightly confused by that. It seems to think that Arnie's playing Arnie. I'm not quite sure what's going on.
I just
Uh,
always like to think that Arnie is playing Arnie in every film, but yeah, that's fine.
well,
Right then. Cool. So, shall we get into the plot? This does actually have a plot, this film. A lot of movies we've
plot. Yeah.
covered
No,
don't
you know
have a
what?
plot.
It's a simple plot, but it's a plot.
It's a plot nonetheless.
Pretty easy to follow. But yes, let's get going.
Cool. So immediately we start with TriStar. TriStar. Whenever I see that, it always brings back nice memories of watching films when I was a kid. But yeah, really inappropriate films as a kid. But yeah, the horse jumping over the triangle. All cool. Then we get to yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's awesome. Then we start. We get 80s tastic music. And
I've written this. Forgot about the 80s tastic Running Man animation.
It's like it's done on a Sega Mega Drive or something. It's fucking brilliant. Yeah, we see about like 12 running men running along, and then it becomes one, and then like computer game graphics comes up the running man. And then we get a bit of narrative. So it says, and I've had to write this down so I don't fuck it up. By 2017, the world economy has collapsed. Food, natural resources, and oil are in short supply. A police state divided into paramilitary zones rules with an iron hand. Television is controlled by the state, and a sadistic game show called The Running Man has become the most popular program in history. All arts, music, and communications are censored. No dissent is tolerated, yet a small resistance movement has managed to survive underground. When high-tech gladiators are not enough to suppress the people's yearning for freedom, more direct methods become necessary. Enter Schwarzenegger.
Right. I mean, so a couple of things there. One, 80s had so many films that just started with some text explaining what was going on. So just here's some text.
It's lazy,
we can't be asked. Here's a bit of text explaining what's going on. By 2017, the world economy has collapsed. Tell me about it. What I don't understand with this is it's just the US or is it the whole world?
Yeah, exactly.
It's never really clear what's going on. It's never really clear how this dystopian government works because it doesn't seem to have anything. And then when high-tech gladiators aren't enough to suppress the people's yearning for freedom, did you think they would be? Do you think everyone's like, well, all my privileges, freedoms, and rights have been stripped away, but gladiators is on, so cool. I guess I don't care about any of that other stuff.
No, exactly. I'd imagine in the book, which we've got to mention, this is a Stephen King adaptation or Richard Bachman, which we'll probably cover in your speed of trivia. I imagine that goes into a lot more detail about this dystopian world. Sorry.
I've never read the book.
No, I want to read the book.
I do want to read it. I looked it up on Amazon afterwards, but the book is also about £8, and I was like, no.
That's a bit pricey. Yeah.
That's a bit pricey.
Right. Anyway, back to the film. So we get a helicopter. It's flying over Bakersfield, California, and we meet Arnie playing Ben Richards and his police team. And I've written down, is that other bloke sitting next to him, Ed Harris? It really looks like Ed Harris. But yeah, apparently there is a food riot going on below with 1,500 civilians unarmed. And I'm like, how does the helicopter know this? The technology he's got is like a Commodore 64 or some shit. How do you know there's 1,500 unarmed civilians who just want food down there?
It's also giving him the information after he said it.
Yeah, exactly.
So he says, they're only wanting the food. And it's just like, they only want food.
Exactly. All they want is the food for Christ's sake. And he's like, he's giving
no,
you all
I will not shoot on unarmed children.
The hell of you. And then there's a big fight, and then we get our first.
He's a pretty he is a soldier in a dystopian future government. He's pretty like, oh no, I won't shoot on innocent women and children. It's like, I'm sure you've done it before. Why if it's just today you've gone, hold on a minute, are we the bad guys?
Yeah,
I'm not shooting on unarmed civilians. Whoa, I'll burn books. But this is a step too far. Come on now.
Yeah, this is probably not the first time he's been given a shady order. So why has he suddenly decided to be like, I ain't doing that? But anyway, so yeah, he's getting restrained in the helicopter and someone wallops him with a gun. He goes, I'll see you in hell.
It was the bit they're like, quickly detain him. Yes, detain the man who is flying the helicopter. What a good idea that is. Do you know what are
Oh, dear.
notoriously easy to fly? Helicopters.
Yeah, the helicopters even have a
Oh.
co-pilot. I don't think they do.
No, because the minute they hit him, it goes. Why
Yeah, they just yank him out of his seat, dangling him over. Like, don't kill him, just restrain him.
not? You're a dystopian future government. Just drop him out the plane.
Exactly.
Helicopter.
There you go. Then we cut to the Wilshire detention zone 18 months later, and prisoners there are
Sounds
carrying
quite
out.
nice.
It does, yeah.
I'm holidaying Wiltshire.
Not a health spa. Uh, prisoners are carrying out manual labour with detonators around their neck, very battle royale-esque.
Yeah.
We'll cover this later on. As we watch this, there's a lot of movies I reckon took inspiration from this, and TV shows as well.
Arnie here with the least convincing beard ever.
I love that beard though.
Oh shit.
Because in Kindergarten Cop, he's got a really ginger beard, and this one he's got a really blonde beard, you know? But yeah, he's got a beard. The guards are conveniently talking about the Running Man show. And then we introduced to Weiss, and he's monitoring, not Rice,
Weiss.
He's monitoring guards shutting down the perimeter. So it looks like these neck things people have got. If you go out the perimeter zone, your neck will blow up. But every now and again, they shut down the perimeters so new prisoners can come in. I was like, okay, makes sense. Okay. Don't understand why they can't all just come in. They've got to shut the perimeters down, but whatever. Then we make, now I want to pronounce his name right. Laughlin? Is that how you pronounce him? Laughlin. Yeah. And it's Yaphet-Kotto. I forgot it was Yaphet-Kotto. Yay, Yaphet-Kotto.
Yaphet-Kotto in it for a paycheck. And
Yeah.
you can tell.
Oh, God, yeah.
God, he isn't trying.
God, this is like his hero when he was in like Freddy's Dead, shit like that. Like, oh,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
I mean, he's a great actor. If you've ever seen Blue Collar that he's in, it's by Paul Schrader. It's a fantastic film, and he's fantastic in it. And he's great in Alien.
Yeah.
This is the point where you start looking at people in this film going, "Whoop, well, he's dead."
Oh, poor Yaphet-Kotto.
It's all right though. He supported Trump in the last 2 elections, so fuck him.
Don't you dare piss on Yaphet-Kotto's legacy. Anyway, then he just starts fighting with Arnie. I was like, that's a terrible idea, just to cause a distraction. And then during all this, Vice steals a security laptop, and then a big riot takes place with guns and everything. And
where did they get the guns?
I don't know. And we get the first of one of many Arnie one-liners who's like, give you a lift, and just throw some guy over the side. Fucking brilliant. Weiss is working to shuttle down the security perimeters with Laughlin and Arnie, and then they run outside with the other prisoners, and they're shooting guards, and then for some reason Weiss hasn't been able to shut down all the perimeters, even though he's just been getting the code. It's like, you know what the code is, and you're entering it. Why isn't it working? Classic.
It's not working because it needs to not work for convenient plot reasons. It's also like the easiest escape ever. They destroy those guards really quickly, and the last guy that's on the perimeter is just stood there. He doesn't have a gun. He's just stood there with his laptop going, uh-oh.
And they still shoot him. Like, what you shoot him for?
He didn't do anything. He just stood there.
And some bloke, I think his name's Chico, he runs off. And goes, no, the perimeters aren't ready. And then his head just blows off. And I've written down, cool. it just goes bang, blows up. And I remember getting really angry. I recorded this off TV at Christmas on 5-star action. And they cut that bit out. I'm like, well, if you've cut this bit out, then I'm just not watching the rest of it. Like, this is one of the most tamest bits of the movie, and you've cut this bit out. But
so yeah. Thomas Rosales Jr., who plays Chico, is in everything.
Oh, is he?
So I recognized him specifically from the Lost World Jurassic Park as the guy that gets squished by the T-Rex when they're running away, and he kind of gets flattened by him, and then the T-Rex lifts his foot up and you see him stuck to the bottom like that and dies. But he's also in Commando, Con Air, Face Off, Last Action Hero, Speed. I mean, he's in everything.
Damn, man works for his money.
Yes, he does. And he's still going today.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to go and dead. No, and
no. Don't worry, we'll get there.
Cool. Vice finally deactivates all the perimeters and the prisoners escape. Yay.
I also wrote down here, this is not the first time in this film that the tension will rely on the entry of codes.
Oh, no. Please, convenient.
There's a lot of code. There's a lot of code talk in this film.
Far too much. Then we cut to a map painting of Los Angeles, which looks all dystopian and cool, and there's a giant TV show showing the Running Man. I was like, does anything else just get shown, or is it just that's a popular part of California where everyone just likes to congregate and take bets on the Running Man? I don't know.
For a dystopian future, they also have an awful lot of money to be gambling with.
They don't. Later on, they're all chucking 200 quid at those bookies and everything. It's like, fucking hell. Then we get Laughlin, Weiss, and Arnie in very fetching disguises.
Looking as Yaphet-Kotto looks as suspicious as possible. He looks like a 1970s pimp.
Love it. And then they make their way to Mick's hideout, and Mick is played by Mick Fleetwood. Fleetwood. What the fuck? Of all people, why?
So I didn't notice that when I was a kid. I had
No,
no
I
idea who
didn't.
Mick Fleetwood was.
No,
And I was watching it, I was like, oh, he's called Mick. Is that? Let me just look that up. I was like, no, that is Mick Fleetwood.
Mick
What is
Fleetwood.
Mick Fleetwood doing in this film? And the guy with him is Dweezil Zappa, who is Frank Zappa's son. Why?
Some very strange casting in this movie. But at the Resistance, the three get their neck tags removed, and then the Resistance are talking about jamming. This is really weird jargon. Jamming the network, and it's because they're brainwashing the nation, but they need to find the uplink to the satellite, and then they can broadcast the truth. I'm like, what?
What?
What the fuck are you going on about?
Also, they're not. I doubt the majority of people, although this film seems to prove me wrong at every turn. I doubt the majority of people are sitting there going, everything's fine. Everything's absolutely fine. They're not lying to us. We're not being controlled by the state. Everything's fine. I'm sure they all know that it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just if you step out of line, you get murdered.
Yeah,
Or
you
put
get
in a camp with a bomb collar on your neck. Which, by the way, I'm surprised that the evil corporation government aren't able to detonate those remotely. It's
yeah,
like, oh, they've escaped the prison. Oh, I just push button. Boom, they're all
exactly.
dead.
Yeah, you're either shot, put into a camp, or you're thrown at the Running Man. Just be quiet. Don't ruffle any feathers. Just be quiet.
It's just, yeah.
But Mick's going on about he doesn't know what the code is or where the uplink is, but they need to find it. Wonder where they'll find it.
In the place that makes the least sense of all.
Exactly. Then Mick starts giving Arnie shit about being a cop and being the butcher of Bakersfield, as they've called him, because he's been framed for shooting all those rioters at the start when, he quite obviously didn't. And then Arnie gives shit back to Mick, and he's resistant. He says, if you're ready to act, then give me a break and shut up. What? All the while smoking a cigar and having like a Gold's Gym t-shirt on. Oh no, it's World's Gym.
It's World's Gym, which was owned by Arnie at the time.
That was it. But it looks very suspiciously like Gold's Gym, like the branding's very similar. Then we get Weiss, Laughlin, and Arnie dressed as the village people going their separate ways. And then Arnie says he's going to go find his brother in the city. And then Weiss and Laughlin want him to stay and join the resistance. He's like, oh, no, I won't be. He was like, we'll see. Then what? Yeah, then we cut to the ICS tower where the Running Man is filmed. And that shitbag Damon Killian, who is Richard Dawson. I won't say anything because it'll probably spoil your trivia. He's the host of the Running Man, and he arrives in a limo to masses of people cheering.
Ugly fucking car.
It is. It's hideous.
It's horrible.
Yeah. Then Arnie makes his way to what he thinks is his brother's Edward's apartment, but inside there's loads of his belongings everywhere.
Luckily, he's not inconspicuous walking around. Like, who are you looking for? Right. Well, he's about 6'4". Yeah, he's got muscles about 17-inch biceps. Yeah. Austrian. Yeah. Fake beard.
Yeah.
And he's dressed like one of the village people.
Yeah.
I mean that guy. Yeah, that'd be it.
And this isn't the first time he tries to be inconspicuous in this movie either.
He just does it like everyone else is walking around like suits and stuff, and he's just walking around in like a vest with a toolbox, like, oh, I'm not an escaped prisoner.
No. Then we get back to the studio, and Killian's greeting everyone, including Kurt Fuller.
This was his film debut, Kurt Fuller.
First movie.
Yeah, first movie. He was also the voice of the guy that gave him the order to shoot the civilians at the beginning.
Wow.
Over the radio.
We're going to burn through your Smith trivia just talking about this film.
No, that's not.
Then back in that apartment where the lady stuffs everywhere, Amber Mendez comes home to the apartment using some 80s version of future technology. Although it is kind of like Alexa. She's like, oh, coffee, TV, this, that, the other. And she begins working out to former Running Man stalker Captain Freedom, played by Jesse Ventura.
The body himself. I wrote down, he was like, you ready for pain? And it's like, right, I'd like to see him do any of the moves those girls are doing in his exercise video. That man is not capable of bending over like that.
No, and I'm sure he's a completely broken man after years of wrestling and heavy steroid abuse.
She also just decides to do sit-ups in her nightgown.
Yeah, on a weight bench.
Yeah, just, why not?
Why not? Then we get the aerobics is interrupted by a news broadcast to conveniently give exposition about Ben Richards' escape. There's a photo of Arnie with a moustache for some reason. When did he have that moustache? If he had it in the helicopter at the start, I can understand. It's just some stock photo of him with a moustache. Oh, funny shit. And then Arnie appears behind Amber wearing a vest and boxer shorts for some reason.
He shaved off the beard.
Shaved off the beard, gelled his hair back.
He's pulled the beard off. Got rid of that.
Got rid of that. He wants to know.
And I've just read this is very rapey. Like,
yeah, it's very kinky later on when you say he's tied her up. Like,
it doesn't get any less rapey.
Oh no, yeah. Um, and then Amber explains she's moved in a month ago, and his brother Edward was taken away for re-education, whatever that means. So he was shot. He was like put in the Running Man. He was shot, or he was put in that camp. There's no re-education. And I've also put Amber cannot act at all. She's awful.
Maria Conchita Alonso, who was also in Predator 2.
And do you know what? The minute I heard her speak, I was like, where have I heard that voice? I was like, oh, yeah, it's Predator 2. But I never
Predator
put
2.
two and two again. I watched Predator 2 loads as a kid. I never
She
put two
looks
and two
quite
together.
different. I think she's got shorter hair.
And it's a few years later. Yeah. Yeah, so Arnie's pinning her down on the bed, like, this is not a lie. I was fine. I'm completely innocent. And then
you seem innocent having broken into my flat and are currently subduing me by putting your hand over my mouth.
And not wearing much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we get Killian's reviewing potential new runners for the show with Kurt Fuller and team, and he isn't happy with any. And then, yeah, so what we're understood is the government supply convicted criminals as part of a contract. And if you win the Running Man, you get a pardon and a tropical holiday, though. And I was written, though, do you, though? Do you?
You get taken out back and shot in the back of the head is what you get.
Yeah, even if you win, you die. Yeah. And then conveniently, Damon Killian sees footage of Ben Richards on TV and he goes, hello, gorgeous. And he's really impressed with him. He's like, yeah, I want him as a contestant on the Running Man. He was like, oh, you got to catch him first because he's still on the run. We cut back to Arnie still in his vest and shorts. This time he's drinking coffee and he's going through all of Amber's stuff. And she's got a load of forbidden stuff, including censored music on cassette tapes. Like, right, so in 2017, you envision people are still going to be listening to music on cassette tapes, even though CDs were out at this point.
They were like, right, we've got deep fake technology. Yep. I imagine giant big TV screens. I imagine people able to talk to their coffee machine. Yeah. What do you imagine for music technology? No, I don't think we're going to get any better than the cassette, to be honest. I can't foresee any technology that could possibly be better than this.
Ridiculous. And also we went, forbidden clothing. Forbidden clothing? What forbidden clothing? What's forbidden about it? Is it stolen?
A T-shirt that has like "Hang on in there" and has a cat on it. Like, no, you can't wear that. None of that.
Stupid.
Or is that? Yeah, it's like one of those ones that people wearing like, I'm the dad of a little princess. It's like, no, get rid of it.
Into the Running Man with you. Yeah, and as mentioned, Amber's tied it up all in a kinky fashion, and she says that she makes jingles for the network that broadcast the Running Man. How convenient.
It's all very convenient.
All of it. Arnie starts stealing her money and then books a flight for him and Amber to Honolulu using her travel pass, using very primitive internet holiday booking. Like, even teletext would have been a bit more advanced than this.
I mean, this is again like dystopian future. People are free to travel on holiday.
Yeah, and there's no regulation on the travel pass later. They just scan it, go, off you go. It was like, hang on, isn't the travel pass registered to someone? Would it flash up their details?
It's whoever's holding it at the time.
How convenient. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Dystopian future, but you can go to Hawaii, not a problem.
Yeah, no, you have a good time.
Yeah.
Don't wear that forbidden clothing.
No. Oh,
Arnie's Hawaiian shirt, not forbidden. Should have been.
Yeah, he says to her, now I'm going to untie you and you're going to get dressed and you're going to come with me. She's like, oh yeah, why should I? Like, because I'm going to say, please. Just rips up that white page.
He's very threatening.
Very muscular. Although apparently not at his most muscular, because apparently he had some sort of back injury during all this, so he wasn't at his biggest. But I was like, he's still pretty fucking big. But yeah. Then we get to the airport, and Arnie's wearing the most conspicuous outfit ever. He's wearing white trousers, Hawaiian shirt, and a hat with shades.
Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for the escaped convict Ben Richards. What does he look like? Well, he's about 6'4", Austrian. Is he wearing a Hawaiian shirt? No. Okay, well, it's not him then.
Definitely not. And then Arnie's got his hand around Amber's neck and he threatens to break it. I was like, God, this got really dark really quickly. And then
he does it at the end as well. I'll get back to that. But
yeah, I know.
I don't like that.
I don't like that. And then they're going through security and scans that travel pass. And he starts fucking about. And then they go, all right, just go through. It's like, that's not how security works, mate. You don't start pissing about pulling stuff out your bag. And they go, oh, go on then. You ain't got a bomb.
That is a one-way ticket to a cavity search. So you stop fucking about or I'm going elbow deep up. You're trying to find whatever you're trying to hide.
Yeah. And then he makes a spectacularly chauvinistic rock. He goes, women can't live with them, can't live without them. The fuck?
That's why he fucked his maid.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, they're on their shuttle bus, and Amber warns Arnie that she'll get all sorts of travel sick over him, and he goes, "Go ahead, won't show on this shirt." That's a good line.
Good line.
Amber sees the guards, and then she hits Arnie and alerts the guards that she's been kidnapped. It's like, oh, snitches get stitches. And then, yeah, the guards give chase to Arnie, who starts running across the runways, but he's promptly captured by the Popo. So that's the end of that.
So, I mean, there was a couple of points on this, right? One, I always got this bit kind of conflated a little bit with Commando, because there's a bit in an airport, and even in Total Recall, there's a bit when they first get to the planet, which is like a bit in an airport. Airports must have been very cheap to shoot in at the time, because there's always like airport scenes or scenes around travel. It must be like just a lack of imagination. Also, when they, sorry,
I was saying the one in Total Recall wasn't real, Smith. That was on Mars. That was not a real airport. But yes, the other two, I'll take your point. Yeah, continue.
Wasn't it though? Maybe they shot on actual Mars. I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, fair.
A little bit when he's running away. Why is he running?
Where are you going?
Where's he going? Like they've got a car and they shoot him with a net. It's like it's a totalitarian again, dystopian totalitarian regime. Shoot him in the back of the fucking head.
Yeah.
Why are they capturing him with a net?
No, it's because Killian has already put the order in that I want him. Because they probably would have just shot him. It's because he said earlier on, I want him for the Running Man. So they were capturing him for the Running Man. That's what it was.
Right.
Yeah, but fair point. Then we get Arnie thrown into a TV studio. He's not taken to a police station. I mean, it's just straight away he's taken to the tower. And then Killian starts talking to him through the screen. He's like, "Hey, cutie pie, now one of us is in deep trouble." And then Arnie goes, "I've seen you before. You're that asshole on TV." And I use that line all the time. When someone says, "I've seen you before," I said, "Yeah, you're that asshole on TV." And then Killian makes a proposition for him to join the Running Man, and Arnie just goes, "Fuck you." Everything he keeps coming out with just cracks me up in this film. And then Killian shows that he's also captured Weiss and Laughlin, and he blackmails him. He says, "If you don't take part in the Running Man, these two will take part instead." I was like, "Oh, okay." He does the honourable thing and decides that he'll join instead of them. Or will they?
I can't. That's it. No, this is Jeffrey Cotter isn't in the rest of this film. That's it.
That's it. No, I'll find out. You take part. We'll let them go. Yeah, cool. Then we get shots of Arnie being injected with various things. I'm like, what exactly is it? And why? Yeah. What for?
Are they trying to make him less effective?
Or is it like anabolic steroids they're giving him? What are you giving him?
Yeah, none of that made any sense. None of that made any sense. Like, what are they trying to make him less likely to be effective against the stalkers? But that's not going to help your ratings if he's just drugged up and shit. It doesn't make any sense.
I can assume they probably gave him some sort of steroids or energy boost. So, yeah, he can run fast and evade stuff and it's more compelling telly. Because, yeah, you're right. If they just drugged him up, the stalkers killed him immediately. It's like, oh, that's rubbish.
Yeah. It's never referenced again. None of this is referenced again.
No, it's not. No. It did make me cringe when I was a kid when needles were going in the middle of his fingers. Like, that sort of thing. But this time it didn't really bother me. But yeah. And then after that, he's thrown into a room and gassed.
So they couldn't have just injected him with something to make him go to sleep.
What did he make?
You just had him on a table. You've got needles. Nah, gas is cheap.
Yeah.
You've got a job lot of it. You've got to use it. It goes off,
Then we cut to Amber at home watching TV while she's at her piano keyboard, and she sees on the news this footage of Arnie escaping at the airport, but the footage shows a lot of bullshit that he's killed loads of people when he tried to escape. Like, hang on a minute, right? There's loads of witnesses.
A lot of people at that airport. A lot of people at that airport.
But again, maybe it goes back to our earlier point, like they don't want to rock the boat. Like, that didn't happen, but we're just going to not say anything.
This is again where I was talking about earlier, where this movie seems to. I'm not sure whether or not the people know they're living in a dystopian future, because she's like, "But that didn't happen." And it's like, well, yeah, obviously. Are you surprised that the TV is lying to you? I don't get what this is supposed to be.
Well, she knows she's living in a dystopian government because she's got that shit in the cupboard that she's hiding.
Yeah, but yet she seems shocked that they'd be lying about this type of thing on television, where it doesn't really scan.
No, because I think she thought she was with a very dangerous criminal, Ben, and I suppose this thing is showing, well, no, he's not, I think. But she might have got an inkling that when it was all bullshit anyway, he didn't really do it. They're just setting him up. But anyway. This pretty funny goes, and now back to climbing for dollars. There's some blokes climbing a rope to grab a load of money while snarling Doberman to blow, and he falls down and goes, "Ah!" He goes, "We'll be right back." That is amazing. I'd love to watch Climbing for Dollars. You know what it reminded me of in RoboCop when it cut those satirical adverts or whatever. was fucking brilliant. Climbing for dollars. Um, yeah, then we get the theatrical agent that's come to see Arnie and escort him to the show. And we see hordes of people pouring into the show as the show starts with some amazing 1980s women dancing.
I read, it's the Nitro Girls.
Yeah, and incredibly well choreographed. And I'm not sure if that's part of your Smith trivia who choreographed that. Right, I'm not going to say a word. I'm not going to say a word. Then we cut to illegal gambling outside and people betting around that big TV that we saw earlier. And then we see that crowds are trying to get near the stalkers, and one of them's Buzzsaw, and everyone's really excited to see him while he's lifting a motorbike up for some reason. Like, look how strong I am. I was like, all right.
Yeah, cool.
Not that heavy.
Good for you, mate.
It's just some shitty scrambler bike. No. And then Amber and some other woman are by a vending machine trying to buy a Coke, and it's like $6. Jesus, this place. I'm like, hang on. Did you anticipate in 2017 a Coke was going to be $6? It's only like £1 now for a can. Also, it's no coincidence I'm wearing a Coca-Cola t-shirt for this.
And I'm wearing a shirt because I just got back from work.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. And then the woman who's with Amber, she say, "Oh, you're lucky to be alive after what happened." With Ben Richards, and then completely Ben Richards walks past, and then she starts going on about he could have raped you or murdered you, and then murdered you, and then raped you, and then she pontificates on this point for a little bit too long for my liking. Like, why do you keep going on about this? And then Amber runs off past when having a drink with this woman. I was like, well, it's probably after all that rape talk. I don't want to hang out with you anymore.
You're weird, Deborah. You're weird.
Oh dear. And the show starts with Killian arriving. He's like, "Oh, it's showtime!" But I noticed there's a lot of old people in this crowd. Like,
the crowd is super weird. It's like it seems to be a mixture of old people, young people in suits, just randoms. It's like, what kind of TV audience is this? Like,
easily manipulated people. I don't know.
Well, because you usually, if you look back at like old TV, you get two types of TV audiences. You either get the TV audiences, which is people in t-shirt and jeans, or you get people that have dressed up like they're going out for a nice dinner,
or the theatre or something.
Yeah, like the fucking suit and tie. Like, oh, I'm on the. And when you watch Bullseye, it's just like people in like suit and tie. Like, well, I've gone out for last night with Jim Bowen, so I've got to be dressed for my best. Might be on telly, and yeah. Very weird. Sorry.
We're going to have to add that to the list of shit to cover. Anyway, the talent agent gets Arnie to sign a release form, but he says, "Oh, you can use my back." And then as he does a decimal point, he just fucking stabs him in the back with a pen. He's like, "Don't forget to send me a comment." He's like, that bloke didn't actually do anything wrong. He was just a runner.
Doing his job. Just doing his job.
Stabbed him in the back. And I often wondered, was like, did he die? Did he get like ink poisoning or something? Or did they just pull the pen out and he was all right? Then we get Killian being a perv for some old girl in the front row. Like, I want to kiss, but no tongue. Like, oh, Killian, you're the fucking worst.
Well, no, this is Richard Dawson did similar things when he was actually on telly.
Yeah, I've seen footage
very much. Yeah, he's very much playing himself here.
Then we get Ben Richards introduced as the runner, and we get bogus footage of the Bakersfield massacre. It's like, no, Richards, don't kill all those people. The hell with you! Everyone.
Where did that footage come from?
Yeah, it looks exactly like the movie footage we've watched. Right? Did they have multiple camera angles and editing in the helicopter or something?
All government helicopters have another helicopter following them that has a camera crew on it, just in case they need to doctor the footage later. It doesn't make any sense. Films do that all the time. They have like footage of something that's happened, but it's clearly just filmed footage. Yeah. And you just think that's not how footage works.
Yeah, if there'd been some really crude black and white CCTV or something, you could buy that. Like, no, this is just the footage we've seen already, movie footage. Oh, anyway, Arnie stripped out of his onesie suit and it's very tight. And
it's a horrible onesie. It's horrible. They're horrible.
Dreadful colour.
Nobody looks good in them.
No, I don't know what's worse, his bright yellow one or Laughlin and Weiss's one. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. Anyway, oops. Anyway, and then Killian starts showing footage of last year winners Whitman, Price,
and her dad
on a beach. It's like, wonder if this will come back later.
You will not. You will hear these names many more times.
Many more times. Amber breaks into some sort of archive room with relative ease. Okay.
Well, luckily, they keep all of the footage of their edited footage of their crimes neatly labelled.
Yeah.
But also, why has she decided she's going to help him? Like, because surely she knows she works for the corrupt media arm of a dystopian future government. why is she surprised by any of this? And why is she suddenly going, oh, well, they lied to us. Well, I best go and look into this.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense. Plot reasons. Arnie's placed into a high-speed car to shoot him into the game, and then Killian, that arsehole, reveals that Weiss and Laughlin will be taking the part in the Running Man after all. It's like, you bastard.
You. Also, yeah, I mean, it's not flattering on Arnie. It's less flattering on Yaphet Kotto. That is a middle-aged man with a middle-aged man's gut.
Yeah. And also, why are they all at a horrible angle about me shooting? And he's just quite neatly in a little tunnel. It was like, oh, okay. Arnie actually looks quite fun when he gets shot off. I was like, that looks really fun. I want to take part.
It does. The whole thing. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, I really want to go on that. That's really cool.
That looks way cool. Yeah, as we said, Amber starts searching for a proof of Arnie's innocence, and we've put why would it be kept here. Killian starts explaining the rules that they've got 3 hours or less to get through all 4 game zones with the stalkers on their tail. And of course, we get Arnie going, I'll be back. Of course.
Yeah. Only in a rerun.
Yeah, that was a great quip. I was like, all right, that's cool. I like that. The car zooms off, and again, it looks kind of fun. And then Amber finds an edited for television and raw footage disc. Like, disc? What is this? Like a mini disc or something? What the fuck
none
is
of
this?
None of the other things are like they're like security footage. It's like everything is really generic, apart from that one that's very specific.
Why? Why would the TV studio have that? Why would it just be in a police vault or something?
Security footage. Janice's the 4th birthday.
Yeah.
Bakersfield Massacre.
There you go. And then she's apprehended by an unseen person. Like that.
You never do find out who that is.
No, you never find out who caught her. It might have been.
I assume it's the security guard.
Oh, Sven. Yeah, it might have been
Sven.
him. Yeah.
Played by a man called Sven. Big stretch.
Yeah. Then we cut to some old girl in the crowd, and she picks Sub-Zero as the first stalker to hunt down the 3 runners.
I mean, I know I've seen this before, but there was a gong, and I was like, "Oh, he'll be Asian."
Yeah, this ain't racist.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah, he's Professor Toru Tanaka, who is actually a professional wrestler. Because I always used to think it was Odd Job from Goldfinger. I was like, oh no, it's not. It's Toru Tanaka.
Yeah, it's Toru Tanaka, who's Professor Toru Tanaka, and then it must be in his contract to be called Professor because he's called Professor Sub-Zero.
Yeah, my wife spotted that. She went, Professor, there's a professor in this movie. It's like, no, I don't think so.
I wonder what his PhD's in.
Pain. Then we see the gamblers are placing bets outside. And Sub-Zero is a Japanese samurai warrior ice hockey player. What? What is that? And his hockey stick is like made of like Kitano's sword or some shit.
That is like, everybody write something down and put it in a hat.
Yeah.
We've got professional, samurai, hockey player. Oh, very good. And the next one is flamethrowing surfer. Okay.
Yeah, that'll do.
Let's actually just go back when they were talking about the game, and he's got 400 square blocks of game zones. I have no idea how big that is. How big is that? Are we talking about?
Like, and also, when the cars are shooting them down, it's like, how deep underground is this? Where are they going?
Yes, it's go for fucking miles.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when the runners make their way to the zone, we get like Mad Max 2 people shooting them and moving them along on bikes. And then we see Captain Freedom, Jesse Ventura, doing backstage interviews, but he's interrupted by Killian. And I'm like, Jesse Ventura is criminally underutilized in this movie.
Barely in this
hardly
film.
in it.
Barely in this film. And then when he stops being in this film, he stops being in this film.
Yeah,
like,
he just goes. That's it.
He just goes. He's gone. You don't see him again, even though it would have made sense to see him again, but you don't.
Yep. We see that lights and cameras have caught the 3 runners in the zone, and gates come down, and Sub-Zero arrives on ice skates.
So, this is what I'm thinking, right? So they're in the Sub-Zero section.
Yeah,
she's picked Sub-Zero. Yeah, but she's picked Sub-Zero first. So there has to be other first sections. There has to be a way that this is modular, because otherwise it's not that random, because there's conveniently an ice rink. It's not like, they're in the sand zone and I choose Sub-Zero. So he's going to be fucked wearing his ice skates on sand. Like,
no, I think that's the point of the guys on the motorbikes. Like, if Sub-Zero has been chosen, they usher you along to the zone you need to go to. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I understand. But no, you're right. Random would be better. Like, you're just somewhere, and then suddenly fucking Buzzsaw comes out. Oh shit, So
also they do a real good job of running on ice.
Yeah, where are their skates?
Yeah, they don't have to. They're just running perfectly normally. They're not slipping and sliding about all over the fucking place.
No. The thing is, to start off with, Sub-Zero's not trying to kill him. He's just like knocking him over with his hockey stick. It's like, you're not playing hockey, Sub-Zero.
He's a real showman because he's not even trying to kill him. Like, he gets Weiss and throws him into a goal. It's like, you could have killed him. You just didn't bother. Like, nah.
Yeah. And then when he puts him in the goal. Suddenly that old girl starts getting a load of prizes. Like, why did you get prizes for him being put in a goal? Surely you get prizes
Like,
for him being killed.
he gets to the Running Man board game, the logo of which conveniently features the outline of Arnie.
Yeah.
It's like convenient. Like, oh, all right, okay.
I wondered how that game would work, but me and my wife were talking about it. It's probably card based. You turn over a card, oh, you've been killed by Sub-Zero, go back. Because I'm like, you're not going to have little men going
more
around.
thought into it than the producers of the film did.
Well, you get like the Jaws board game and all these other tactical board games. I imagine it's just something like that. Anyway, then Sub-Zero starts firing off exploding hockey pucks. This is amazing. And then he tries to kill Laughlin, but Arnie stops him because the fence gets slashed, and then Arnie grabs hold of a load of razor wire, and then Sub-Zero runs into it, gets his throat caught, and then Arnie just like chokes him and slits his throat with it. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's really cool. And then everyone's just deadly silent as a stalker's been killed, because I presume this is the first time a stalker has ever been killed.
This is the two thoughts I had when I was watching this bit. One, the stalkers are barely in it. Yeah. I remembered them having so much bigger parts when I was younger, right? They're barely in it. They're each
There's only four of them. Yeah.
And they're each in it for like a minute and a half. And then they're dispatched with fairly quickly. The way the audience reacts suggests that nobody's ever killed a stalker before. So it suggests that the only way that people ever got out of it before is they just leg it all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like that ends the Running Man, which makes sense. But like you don't get much of a choice not to fight back. It's like especially with Buzzsaw chasing you down on a fucking motorbike with a chainsaw, you're not just going to run. You're going to try and fight back because otherwise he's just going to catch you.
Exactly.
So I find it hard to believe that a stalker has never been killed before.
Well, maybe all the convicts are just shit. They're like petty criminals. They're not like Arnie. So there you go.
Yeah, true.
And then here comes your favourite line. You want to say it?
Sub-Zero, now, Pine Zero.
It's brilliant. And then Killian's all mourning the loss. He's like, oh, we're going to cut to the break. And then, as they're leaving the zone, I think his voice says he's so glad we took care of Sub-Zero. And then Arnie goes, yeah, he's a real pain in the neck. Oh, the quips just don't stop. Oh yeah, that's it. They're forced to leave the zone because the gas, that deadly gas, starts getting pumped through. Like, oh, we better get out of here.
We've got a job lot of it.
But it makes sense, right? Because otherwise you just stay in the zone. I'm not going anywhere. Fuck off, like that. So you're hurried along to the next zone.
But they say you've got 3 hours to get through. So I suppose if you don't get to the end by 3 hours, they just shoot you.
Probably, yeah. So you just, But they're doing it for entertainment value, because if you just stayed there, like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to wait my 3 hours. Well, anyway, we're thinking about it too much. We're thinking about it too much.
No, we're thinking about it more than anyone else has.
Then this bit confused me, because Killian's now in his office getting makeup, and he's on the phone at the network because they're all pissed that Sub-Zero's dead. I'm like, hang on, do they have extended commercial breaks, or is this not live, or do they just like film segments and show it a day later? This is what I couldn't work out.
I've clearly never watched American television. They have extended ad breaks.
Oh, like 20-minute ad breaks or something like that. Yeah. Okay, fine. Then they're back at the show, and some geeky bloke chooses 2 stalkers. He chooses Buzzsaw and Dynamo, and I've written down Buzzsaw looks cool. Dynamo looks like a fucking gimp singing opera.
So I did one. He's like,
where are his trousers?
He's like, but Buzzsaw was last year's champion. I was like, what does that mean? What do you mean he was last year's champion? What does that mean? Did he kill the most?
I think that's what it is. He killed the most runners.
Yeah, like, and then Buzzsaw comes on and he cuts someone in half. I was like, well, right, Sub-Zero just did that. So what else you got? He just cut something in half. Now you're cutting something in half. That's the whole way. Everyone's introduced by cutting something in half.
No, Dynamo lined something up.
I've written here, Dynamo sucks. Even when I was a kid, I knew he sucked. He's just a fat lad.
With no trousers.
With a battery pack.
God, he looks so stupid.
He's just like, he's so shit, yeah.
He's rubbish. He's the worst of the stalkers. He's rubbish.
He's terrible. He's so crap.
Yeah. Killian is told that Amber was caught stealing archive footage. He says the one with a cute arse. Oh, God, you're the fucking worst. And then she's brought in as a new runner, and they start reading a load of crap over the microphone. Like, she had sexual relations with sometimes 2, sometimes 3 men in 1 year. Okay, that's all right.
I was thinking that the onesie doesn't even...
That was a
lie! That onesie doesn't even look good on her.
No, she's quite hot, though. I didn't remember her being that hot when I was a kid. But I was watching her, he's like, oh, yeah, she's nice. I like her.
Well, yeah, but like, the onesie's just so badly designed. It's like, nope.
Nope. And also, why has she been put in this? I thought it's only convicted felons who get put in this game. You can't just decide, oh, you're stupid about into the Running Man you go. She hasn't been convicted of anything yet. Anyway. So she gets shot off in the car to join the game, and then the runners spot a satellite dish and start making their way to it. I'm like, oh, is this for all this uplink crap from earlier they were talking about?
Stuff, yeah. Mick Fleetwood sitting there rubbing his ass together going, I love a good upload.
He does. Y starts going on about relays and uplinks and satellites and shit and how we can jam the network. And then Arnie goes, jam it up your ass. Forget this crazy idea. We got to move. And then we see Amber's being forced into the zone by bikers and Dynamo and Buzz are en route. He's on a motorbike and he's in some really shitty looking car, like Robot Wars or something.
Well, a shitty car with his head sticking out the top is like, that seems unsafe.
Yeah, he's going to die. Oh, then Arnie does a great line here. He goes, uplinks underground. If you guys don't shut up, I'm going to uplink your ass and you'll be underground. The fuck does that even mean?
I'm like, what?
Arnie, no. They're trying to hide from cameras, and then Amber emerges to join them. I was like, she got there real quick. But again, I don't know whether it's because the guys on the motorbikes have given her like a shortcut to get to where they are. That's the way I'm trying to rationalize it.
Yeah. Maybe that would make sense.
Yeah. Weiss then runs off, and then Buzzsaw comes along with Dynamo. And this point, I think, the group gets separated, don't they?
Buzzsaw manages to sneak up on them on a motorbike with a chainsaw. They don't see him coming. It's like, he's going to be making so much fucking noise. You hear him coming a mile away.
That noise. Don't worry about it. It's all right.
Well, it sounds like a big lad on a motorbike with a chainsaw.
Yeah, because also he's going like, yeah. He's driving along and stuff. Anyway, the group gets separated. So Weiss and Amber head to the uplink to the satellite or some bullshit, and Arnie and Laughlin run away from the stalkers. So in this new area, which is like a bit of a warehouse, I suppose, Buzzsaw emerges and he slashes Laughlin, who pushed Arnie out of the way, thus saving him. I don't know why Arnie thought he wouldn't be dead after that. Like, he just took a massive slash from a chainsaw. Of course he's going to be dead. And then Buzzsaw lassos Arnie and starts dragging him along on his bike. And I'm like, God, that must have hurt like shit. Even the stuntman who done that must have really, really hurt your knees, your chest, your elbows, everything. Oh, God. Then what? Yeah, then again, we see there are prizes being given to that geeky bloke who chose the stalks. Like, what are the prizes for? Like, every time they just kind of subdue the runners? Like, surely you get the prizes once they're dead. I don't know. Arnie manages to thread that lasso around a metal bar, and that sends Buzzsaw flying off his bike. Like, oh, is he dead? We'll see.
I love Buzzsaw. He just goes, big old roid belly.
Yeah,
he's just like,
yeah, he's proper meaty, muscly dude, isn't he?
Yeah,
because he gives Arnie a run for his money in a minute. But yeah, then Weiss and Amber have made it into the satellite interface. Whatever. Start punching codes in and memorizing numbers. Like, all right, but can we go? Okay.
When I was a kid, I was like, never going to remember those fucking numbers.
Yeah, it's not like
I'm sitting there watching the film not under pressure, and I'm not remembering those bloody numbers.
Yeah, it's not like you said, "I remember this code 1, 2, 3." It's kind of like 4, 7, 8, 4 point this, whatever. She manages to memorize it all during all this terror. Yeah. Arnie goes over to Buzzsaw, who predictably awakes, and they start having a really fucking good fight over the chainsaw. And I'm like, oh man, like, I don't think you're going to overpower a Buzzsaw in this instance. And then he says, I love this saw. This saw is a part of me, and I'm going to make it a part of you. And then somehow Arnie just overpowers him, puts it in between his legs. He goes, you want to keep it? And it just like cuts his cock and balls off, I presume.
Just turn it off.
Yeah.
Jesus, like, look, let's turn that off. I don't want that in my balls.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He still had a grip on it at that point.
Yeah, just turn it off.
Yeah. That was always it. That was my favourite kill of this movie when I was a kid. Like, see all the blood splat up on his face. Goes, oh! It's like, God, that must have hurt like shit. Then what happens? Then again, we get a dejected audience and studio people being like, oh. At this point,
they cut back to the locker room a couple of times, and Fireball's there watching. And every time you see Fireball, he gets less and less dressed. His shirt gets more and more unbuttoned every time you see him.
I don't know, maybe he's getting turned on by all this. Who knows? Then we cut to like Weiss is shouting out random numbers and Amber's memorizing them. And it's silly Dynamo. Just looks so stupid. He emerges and he shocks Weiss with cartoon lightning. For some reason it kills him, but it doesn't kill Amber. So why didn't it kill both of them?
Different colour.
Different colour. And I've written down, I cannot stress enough how stupid Dynamo looks.
He really looks so stupid. It's like a fucking Christmas tree.
Which is what Arnie says in a minute. It's great. He's like, hey, Lighthead, hey, Christmas tree.
I'm right here. Come on.
Dynamo subdues Amber with yellow electric, not blue. So that's probably why it doesn't kill her.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't kill her. It's yellow electric, as we all know. The safer electric.
The safer, yeah. Dynamo's back in his shit car chasing Arnie, singing opera to Flight of the Valkyries for some reason.
Well, the guy who played him was actually a trained opera singer. Yeah, so I think they probably just went, oh, right, you do that. Right, we'll do that then.
Yeah, we'll figure that into the movie somehow. He's like, oh, follow me, light bulb. And then Dynamo just crashes his car as Arnie's running up the hills. But then Arnie doesn't kill him because he's like, I won't kill a defensive and helpless scum like you. It's like, yeah, but he's going to come back and get you
Yeah.
later. You might as well
Yeah,
just
like,
finish him off,
even sadistic scum like you. It's like, well, you just cut a man in half.
Yeah, yeah, no
I
problem
think you've
doing
lost
that.
the moral. I think you've lost the moral high ground.
Yeah, because Amber says, what happened to Buzzsaw? I was like, he had to split.
Uh, uh,
Great.
ah.
Yeah, and as you just said, Fireball is like summoned to wardrobe at once. And Arnie confronts Laughlin, who is dying. This dialogue is amazing. He's like, I'm going somewhere, but not with you. Buster took care of my traveling arrangements.
I've got here Yaphet Kotto died from a tiny flesh wound and the paycheck running out.
Yeah,
I no longer want to be in this film. Thank you.
no, I've had enough. Amber says she's got the code to the uplink, and Laughlin gives us some exposition. There's an underground part where they can use the code to jam the signal. I was like, why didn't you just mention this earlier? Or if they only just realised it, I don't
That's
know.
the bit of the film that doesn't work for me. All the
Yeah.
stuff with the underground resistance, I'm like, oh, I don't care.
Yeah, that's crap. And then he goes, don't let us die for nothing. He goes, I don't want to be the only asshole in heaven. It just dies. Oh, Yaphet Kotto. So we've had Laughlin and Wise have died now, and now it's just Amber and Arnie. And this is my favourite fucking bit of the film. So Killian appears on the big screen and he essentially makes a proposition to Arnie to become a stalker with all these great privileges. And he says, oh, this is a private transmission. I've written, how exactly? Do they just pick and choose what the audience can see? I presume they just cut the cameras off this bit.
I think that's how television generally works, Stu.
Yeah, but there's some bits we'll come with like, it just doesn't make sense. Like you've chosen to show this, but chose not to show that. And then Arnie grabs hold of the camera and speaks with Killian. And he gives it the best line ever. It's like, you cold-blooded bastard. I tell you what I think of it. I'll live to see you eat that contract. But I hope you leave enough room for my fist, because I'm going to ram it into your stomach and break your goddamn spine. And it smashes the camera. Fucking amazing. Oh, I might put that as a ringtone. It's so good. But it's not a bad offer. At this point, he's realised, oh, fuck, like, he's really good at this. Like, maybe we should just make him a stalker. But as if he was ever going to take him up with his offer. And if he did, he'd be like, right, your first order of business, kill Amber. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then here comes Fireball, the stalker, complete with flamethrower gun, much to the crowd's delight. And he starts burning cardboard cutouts rather than cutting him in half.
He does a really shit job of it as well. It kind of goes on fire a little bit.
Yeah. Then we get Captain Freedom admiring pictures of himself wearing a championship. It was like, did he used to be a wrestler or a boxer? Right? Because he's a former stalker. But it didn't really, I presume he was just a cage fighter or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We get Fireball slowly flies away in a Thunderbolt style jetpack. Like, so shit. And then Killian's talking to that old girl from earlier, Agnes, who's going to be the next kill. And she says, oh, I choose Ben Richards. He goes, you can't choose Ben Richards. He goes, I choose Ben Richards. That boy's one mean motherfucker. And that really popped my wife. She thought that was so funny. She hated the rest of the film, but that bit was funny.
That's the thing again, though. Dystopian future government, and these people are just saying whatever they feel like on television. They're meant to be supporting that. This wouldn't work. Yeah. She'd be taken out back and shot. She'd be straight in the running man.
Yeah, exactly. Because then outside, everyone starts going $200 of Richards and stuff like that. It's like everyone just changed their mind real quick.
A lot of money flying around.
Yeah, a lot of money. Arnie and Amber are walking along. This is the great line as well. Amber goes, me and my big mouth, we should have taken the trip to Hawaii. He goes, well, I had the shirt for it, but you fucked it up. Everything is gold in this film. And then Fireball slowly descends in, albeit very slowly. And he just like lightly jogs after them.
It's also when he lands, he goes, with his flamethrower, it's like, that is not a ranged weapon. Stop wasting your ammo.
Exactly. And then he's chasing after him. He's jogging very, very slowly. And Arnie starts throwing barrels of gas at him. Like, why are there barrels of gas flying around? It's like a computer game.
He's like Donkey Kong.
Yeah. The Fireball's not harmed by the flames by some reason.
Yeah, no, like his suit's fireproof, but his fucking face isn't.
No, exactly. And then Arnie steals a conveniently placed flare from a box that's just lying there. This bit makes no fucking sense. Amber makes into a room and sees 3 dead bodies, all conveniently with dog tags around their necks.
Despite the fact that they're not soldiers.
They're not soldiers.
Why do they have dog tags? They don't have dog tags.
No. And it's revealed to be Price, Whitman, and Hammond. And conveniently, none of this is broadcast on the TV. So is this a secret room where there's just no cameras whatsoever, you know? And then she says to Fireball as he comes in, last year's winners. He goes, no, last year's losers. And it just says Fireball's about to kill Amber, very slowly, I might add. Arnie emerges from the roof. How did he get up there? And pulls like one of his wires out, which shows like gas flying over him. And then he throws that flare at him. He's like, "How about the light?" And it just blows up.
Blows up his balls. Like it goes right in between his legs.
No!
Oh, not my balls.
He's
My
already cut.
balls.
Ah, my balls. So he's already cut Buzzsaw's balls off, and now he's blown his balls off. And then, as if that quip wasn't enough, he then says, "What a hothead." Stop it.
Jesus Christ. You've just murdered a man.
Yep. Here we see Captain Freedom's been summoned to wardrobe.
Wearing a microwave for some reason.
And he just bursts and goes, "Forget it, Killian. I won't do it." He's like, 10 years ago, I was killing guys with my bare hands. And then Killian orders that security guard Sven to remove him. I was like, I'm pretty sure Jesse Ventura can have Sven. Like, he's not going to be scared by him. And then he says, and this comes back later, like Sven doesn't do anything. He says, "What are you, steroids making you deaf? Get him out of here." And that's the last we see of Jesse Ventura.
Yep.
No comeuppance. No, he doesn't get killed. He's not in the riot at the end. Nothing. He's just gone.
He doesn't help. He doesn't do anything. He just goes home.
No.
And Sven lets out a little single tear because he got insulted and he's got exceptionally thin skin, apparently.
Yeah. Arnie and Amber are searching for this secret underground base. And suddenly they're locked in with cages. We get the 80s women dancing again, paying tribute to all the fallen stalkers. And then, yeah, this bit, they got this bit quite right because in the control room, Kurt Fuller starts using not quite yet available deepfake technology to make it look like Arnie and Captain Freedom are having a fight. I was like, that's quite smart, actually. He's like, he's not going to participate. They've had enough. They don't want to kill any more stalkers. Like, fuck it. Let's just pretend that Captain Freedom killed him. Yeah, and then Mick arrives from the People's Network. Why we couldn't see him early? Because, oh no, we couldn't risk jeopardizing our position. This is why we can only rescue you now. I was like, that's convenient, isn't it? Really convenient, Mick.
Their base is in the middle of the game zone?
Makes no sense.
How does that make any sense? How are they coming and going? There's cameras everywhere.
I thought their base was at that point in Los Angeles where they were earlier, where they got their dog tags taken off.
No, it's in the middle of the game zone, apparently.
Oh, God, I don't know. Yeah, and then Amber says that she's got the code to jam the signal because she's remembered it despite all that terror going on earlier on.
Oh, that's the bit where Arnie's got a cigar and I was like, oh, good, he has a cigar.
Oh, no, we're getting to that.
We're getting
to that.
Oh,
we get to that. No. Yeah, we get to that. Because that's the bit we then see the deep fake footage. So everyone's, first of all, seeing Amber getting killed really, really easily and then just thrown onto a load of razor wire. And then Arnie and Captain Freedom are having a really good fight. And he just gets impaled on all the spikes. I was like, oh, that looked cool. Even when I was a kid, I thought that bit was really good.
So did they just... How did that work? Is that old footage I'm assuming they've used of someone else fighting Captain Freedom?
Yeah.
It has to be, because otherwise they've just killed someone random and Jesse Ventura's done it despite the fact that Jesse Ventura said he wasn't going to do it. It doesn't make any sense.
I think it's old footage of Jesse Ventura and a random killed a random and they just merged it all together because then Kurt Fuller someone makes some sort of comment like, did you really have to kill an innocent guy? Because when the deep fake comes off and you see that it's not Arnie, they make reference to someone innocent that had to die. That doesn't explain who the Amber person was, but anyway, doesn't matter. None of it was real, or was it? Who knows? He's all angry at the footage, and Amber's like, well, what does it matter? Everyone thinks we're dead, we can go. He's like, no, we're going to be hunted down off camera and killed. And then at this point, Mick's team starts passing out guns, even gives one to Amber. And yeah, you're right, at this point, Arnie's now had a nice shave, he's wearing clothes, he's got a cigar. Amber's had a nice wash and got clothes on as well. I was like, why have they all got like clothes for everyone? And at this point, Arnie's ready to help and join the resistance. And he says, I told Killian I'd be back. I wouldn't want to be a liar. And then, as they're getting ready to wrap up, Killian's happy that the ratings are all going to be good for this show.
Oh, no, this is the bit where Amber has the footage.
Yeah, so she says she's got it. Anyway, where'd you get that from? He goes, none of your business. So I can only imagine she shoved it up her hoof. So, yeah.
That's what I was like, where did she keep it? Why did she keep it? And why didn't when she got captured? Like, oh no! Did she just turn around? Like what?
Because then, what did she get arrested for? She quickly hid it. They were like, "What are you doing in here?" Nothing. So yeah, doesn't make any sense. Yep.
It was weird flirting. I mean, he did try to kidnap you earlier. Maybe don't flirt with him.
No, he's a chauvinist. Yeah.
Can a woman keep a Betamax tape inside herself?
It's not a Betamax. It's more like a Betamax.
Just like, I don't know. I'd have to, like, if we have any women listeners out there, could you comfortably hide something the size of a VHS up yourself?
Please send your hate mail to one Michael Smith.
Just like, maybe she just clenched it in between her arse cheeks. Maybe that
maybe. God, but she's been
I
running
can't.
with a running man all throughout that video tape over us.
I mean, I've had an old floppy disk of Frogger up there since
Frogger.
1993.
Okay.
I've always
Anyway.
got Frogger clenched twixt to my cheeks.
Roof. Anyway, back to the film. So we get more 80s women dancing as the rebellion storm in the studio. They just start shooting up No, that's not. The footage gets shown on the screen. So they've jammed the signal. They've given the code, they've jammed the signal, and we get the unedited version of what happened at the Bakersfield Massacre. Again, who filmed this?
And then, and again, all of the people go, my God, they've lied to us. It's like, you live in a dystopian dictatorship. Of course, they fucking lied to you.
Of course. And then we get
very like, I don't know. This part of the problem with this film, which is kind of very evident here, is they don't do a lot of world building. Right.
No.
So you don't know how any of this works. Like, is the studio and the government the same thing? They appear to be connected, but are they the same? Like, is overtaking the signal going to destroy the government? Probably not. It doesn't. Like, it feels like a really pat like ending, because like, I don't quite understand what's happening. Like, you've not bothered explaining this to me enough.
Yeah, but if you inject another half hour, explain all that, it'd probably slow the pace of the movie down. So, but yeah, I get it. This is why I can't want to read the book. But then, from what I understand, there's massive differences between the film and the book. Anyway, so it probably won't explain any of this shit. And in amongst this, they've cut to footage of last year's winners, and we see those 3 dead bodies. Like, again, who filmed that? Who filmed that? Why have you got footage of that suddenly? In the storm
and edited together.
Yeah. With Killian is lying to you. So, yes. And then the control room gets stormed by the rebellion. Some guy goes, "Don't touch that dial." Fucking funny. And then Arnie and the team just start shooting up the studios. I'm pretty sure some audience members got killed in this, not just the guards. Audience is running for their lives. And then Amber just like mercilessly kills someone in the corridor. I was like, what the hell did he do? What'd you give her a gun for?
He just comes out of a door and she goes, no!
And then at this point, we see that Dynamo's back, and he stops her and he says, "Oh, I thought that was pretty funny out there in the zone. What's the matter, bitch? Why aren't you laughing?" And then she comes back with a really shit quip, because there's nothing funny about a dickless moron with a battery up his ass. And then they start fighting, and he goes, "I'll show you, dickless." Like, oh, no, Dynamo. You already was shit. Now you're just really shit.
He tried that on in the game zone as well. That's what he was up to.
Yeah. And then she shoots the fire extinguisher, which soaks him, and it electrocutes him. It's like, right, 2 things here. Why isn't his suit electrocute proof? Right? And second of all, wouldn't that have killed her as well? This is hollow again.
It would have killed everyone that was in the water.
So at this point, the audience room is now completely empty, but for some reason, Killian has stayed there and not run for his life.
Like, he had plenty of opportunities to get away.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we've like
he just hid behind the chair and said, yeah.
And then Arnie emerges with a gun and is like, "Hey, cutie pie, one of us is in deep trouble." And then as Arnie's about to fuck Killian up, Sven arrives. And then he says something weird. I couldn't even make out what he says. It's something about steroids, and it just walks off.
He's like, "I guess I better go and take some more steroids." He would have been better not talking. He's not an actor.
Exactly. No, no, he's not.
But also, what a baby. Like, the guy insulted him once. He was like, "Well, you've insulted me. I will let you die."
Yeah.
"You hurt my feelings."
And he lives.
Fucking grow up.
Grow up. Yeah, it's not like Killian smacked him round the face or made him take part or anything like that. He just said, "Oh, what steroids making you deaf?" That's all he said to him. Yeah. And then Killian's trying to raise him with Arnie, and then he throws him into the high-speed car, which for some reason just got lowered down. So lowered the car down. Makes no sense. And then he says, "I've not been in the business as long as you have, Killian, but I'm a fast learner, and I'm going to give the audience what I think they want," and throws him in. He's like, "You bastard, drop dead. I don't do requests." And then he just sends him off. Like, again, how do you send him off? Like, is there a button that says go? Like, what?
It must be. Also, there's a whole bit where he's saying, it's what people want, it's violence, it's blah, 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 blah. It's a nice commentary on screen violence, except it's completely undercut by giving you a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So he sends Killian off, and again, it looks super fun, him flying along, but there was no net to catch the car this time, so it just goes, it just goes into a Coke sign and blows up.
That never made any sense to me when I was a kid. Like, after the first one, where they're like, right, well, that's that for the day, we'll just take the net down.
Yeah, exactly.
All those Mad Max people are gone, they just took the net down and went home.
Yeah.
This is my net, I brought it from home.
Oh, God. Funny. And then he goes, Well, that hit the spot.
But how did he see it?
Yeah, again, this film chooses what you can see, what you can't see, and all the audience outside must have seen what's happening because they all start being like Richards, Richards, and cheering for him. And then Amber arrives and we get some really shitty 80s song. This ain't no game.
The song's terrible. It's so bad. But also, I was like, oh, she's back. What's she been doing? And why are they kissing? This is weird.
It is, and he's holding her by the back of the neck again, like he
Yeah,
was
he
at the
grabs her around the
airport.
back of the neck. It's like, oof. I hate it when people do that in general. Like when you
Yeah,
see someone with a girlfriend and they've got their hand on their neck, it's like, oh, that feels weird.
yeah, you're not. She's not your possession, mate. That's fucking
Yeah, that
weird.
feels aggressive.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
no. And it cuts to outside that big TV, ceases transmission, and says, "Please stand by," and then we get
And
credits.
then there were violent government reprisals.
Yeah, exactly. No one's like, "Oh, the Running Man game show's been destroyed." That's all fine.
Well, the regime's over. It's like, just get another presenter.
Well, yeah. Not like they stormed the government building and shot everyone up. They just shot a studio up. That was it.
Did you notice on the credits, and that it was the guy who did the voice of the announcer. His name is
Mm.
Roger Bumpas. Bumphass.
Amazing.
Roger Bumpas, who is better known as the voice of Squidward
Oh,
from
in
SpongeBob
SpongeBob.
and his SquarePants.
There you go. More Smith trivia before we're ready for Smith trivia. Stop it. Right. So let's cover. I think you covered it earlier, but what did you love about it when you was a kid?
What's not to love? It's bright, it's
Yeah.
colourful, it's got action, it's got big characters, it's easy to follow. You're like, oh, okay. Even the bits like the bit with the resistance where I got a little bit bored, you just fast forward. I think once Fireball's blown up, the film sort of just goes blip, blip, blip,
Yeah.
kind of drifts off a bit. And even as a kid, I thought that, but it's still like it's just as a 10-year-old, come on, what more do you want?
Yeah. We were talking about this off air, but like, it's not the best Arnie movie, but it's a solid Arnie
No,
movie.
no,
Like,
no.
great Arnie movie is Terminator and Predator. Shit Arnie movie is like Raw Deal, right? This is somewhere in the middle. It's like, this is
This is
fun. Yeah.
Commando. It's like mid-tier
Yeah.
Arnie. It's like this is absolutely fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I guess, what did you love or hate about it now? You probably didn't love it as much now.
No, it's not as good as I remember it, right?
Yeah.
So it's it feels like this is kind of as you get older, right? I'd appreciate more world building. I'd
Mm,
appreciate understanding a little bit of things to make a little bit more sense. It's quite efficient at what it's doing, but it just kind of it skims over things. It doesn't really explain some stuff properly. Um it feels quite like Route One. You know what I mean? Like it's quite like this will do. This, then
yeah.
this, then this, then this, then this, then this, film over. There's not it's like a lot of care has been put into it. So
Mm,
there are bits that you think you could have done with a little bit more here, a little bit more there. I didn't hate anything about it. I think, you know, it's a pretty solid sci-fi action film from the 80s, right? There's nothing in it where I'd look at it and go, oh, that hasn't aged well, really.
well, maybe the
Um,
rapey stuff, but yeah.
no, but like that's not that wasn't presented well then, right?
Yeah, true, true.
And even the stuff now, like with where he's got a captive at the beginning, I think probably just feels more like that than how it was intended. I don't think it was intended
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
rapey, right? It just
No,
feels a bit,
yeah,
but like yeah, nothing in it makes you go, ugh, that's
yeah,
that's 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 dodgy. Like because I think it's too simplistic to have anything like that, and it's
yeah.
it's not mean spirited. It's not reveling in it in the way that some films do.
Well, it's satirical as well. You meant to laugh at this. Like, it's not quite as effective as RoboCop is with its satire, but it's still funny. You know what it's
Well,
trying
yeah,
to do. Yeah,
and I think Richard Dawson in particular understood the assignment of what he was there to do,
yeah,
and his performance is possibly the best in the film, right? So
yes,
he's big, and he is like playing a sleazy TV presenter in a way that belies his experience as a sleazy TV presenter, um, but also lampoons it enough that you can see what they're doing, right? It's not subtle satire at all, but it's well executed in
yeah,
in what it's trying to do. How about you?
definitely.
What did you love about it? What did you hate about it? Is there anything?
I mean, back as a kid, same as you, just big, colourful, dumb Arnie movie. But like now, the stuff I loved about it, it's great action. Apart from Dynamo, all the stalkers are really cool. Like especially Buzzsaw, who's my favourite. It's 80s tastic. I love anything that's really, really
Yeah, it's
80s
really
tastic.
80s. It's really
Yeah,
80s.
Arnie's one-liners are a fucking hoot. Like just some of the shit he comes out of is so funny. It's like it's brilliant. Yeah, Killian
Break your
is great.
goddamn spine.
Break your goddamn spine. Killian is great, as you said. Really, really perfect casting for that. And I like the premise as well. I really,
It's a good
really
premise.
like the premise. I mean, the things what I said earlier on, what it reminded me of. I think the boys probably got influenced by this. They had a whiff of that, like Battle Royale, the Hunger Games, all that sort of shit. But
Hmm.
it's yeah, and it's violent as hell. Really, not as violent as I remembered it, but it's still pretty
No,
violent. And yeah,
it's
um,
clever with it's clever with its violence. Like that everyone who bleeds a lot bleeds
yeah,
under red lighting.
yeah, like when Buzzsaw's getting sawn up and
And
stuff.
when
Yeah,
and when Sub-Zero is bleeding out his neck, it's all red lighting. Like he's very
yeah,
careful not to be too graphic, which
yeah,
and it's interesting because my understanding is it's completely different than the book. The
yep,
book is a very different premise. The book is ordinary people apply for it.
yep.
And you got
Bit like
30
Squid Game
days,
or something
and you
like
got
that. Yeah,
30 days to escape. To escape. Yeah, they got people coming after you, but I don't think it's in a game zone. I think it's just in the real world. Like you're just running
yep,
around, and there are people trying to kill you for 30 days.
that's right.
And they're doing a remake of it.
Yeah, I heard
So
that.
Edgar Wright and Glenn Powell starring, and it's going to be more like the book. So they're kind of going closer to that, which is good.
Okay.
Um, I think the Running Man, this version, the Arnie version, right? I mean, you could remake it. You could do it as a TV series, maybe. You could do it. I'm surprised they haven't done a decent video game of it
There is a
because
video
it
game.
has. Yeah,
There
but
was
shit.
one. Yeah, there was one on the I think the Commodore. No, not the Commodore 64. Yeah, it was the Commodore 64. It was. Yeah, it wasn't great. It was just a scroller.
Yeah, but like you could make like a fairly good
PS5 game out of it. Yeah,
yeah out of this premise.
yeah,
You could really build it. I don't think you need to remake this. I don't think it'd be as good. I mean, the remake, if you're going to do it like the book. Don't do it like this. If you remade this straight, I don't think it would work anymore.
yeah. You wouldn't capture the 80s tastic
Well, that's
cheese
it.
of it, and it would just be trying to replicate. Like, no, it's shit. So either do it
Yeah,
really dark or do it like the book. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, let's pause that for now. Smith trivia. I mean, you've probably gone through a lot of it anyway, but what
I have
else?
gone through quite a bit of it, but so this was a budget of 27 million to a box office of 38.1, so not the biggest earner, and certainly not a great success when it first came out.
Mhm.
It was directed. This was weird. See, this I didn't know, by Paul Michael Glazer, who also directed Kazam, the Shaq starring genie film. But do you know how he's more famously known?
Starsky.
Starsky of Starsky and Hutch,
Yeah.
which I was just like, sorry, what? Is that in the same way that when I saw Mick Fleetwood, I was like, sorry, is that Mick Fleetwood? What is going on?
Yep.
Written by Stephen E. D'Souza, who did 15 drafts of the script throughout production. We kind of tell, but he also wrote Die Hard and Die Hard 2, Die Harder, um, Commando, and then here we go, Beverly Hills Cop 3, Street Fighter, Judge Dredd.
Oh,
Yeah, and Turbulence. It's a film with Ray Liotta, which we won't cover here because I think it's pretty niche, but I remember enjoying when I was
mm.
Richard Dawson, as you said, it was an actor. He wasn't just a TV presenter. He was a kind of a TV presenter and an actor. He was married to Diana Dawes briefly, but he actually presented Family Feud, which is the American version of Family Fortunes,
Yep.
and was a well-known TV presenter in America. Music for this film was by Harold Faltermeyer, most famous for Axel F, the theme tune from Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, I hear. I actually like the theme tune of this. I think it's kind of a cool
Yeah.
riff. Yeah, yeah.
Christopher Reeve was originally attached to play Ben Richards.
That would never
But it
work.
was very different. It was quite close to the book. So it was about
Okay.
an unemployed man who goes on a game show to feed his family. Like it was a very different film. And they also had Don Johnson, Patrick Swayze, and Dolph Lundgren at various points. Although it's one of those things, right? People say that, but how true is
Yeah.
that? The dances as you said, the dances were choreographed by one Paula Abdul.
Mhm.
Um, and just to go through some of the cast. Now, it will come as absolutely no surprise to you that everyone who plays Stalker in this film is dead.
Oh,
Professor Toru Tanaka, and these are kind of and connections they have to other Arnie films. So Professor Toru Tanaka was in Last Action Hero.
he was.
Gus Rethwish, who played Buzzsaw, was in Twins. Marvin J. McIntyre, who played Weiss, was in Twins. Jim Brown, who played Fireball, and had a hell of a lot of domestic violence charges against him. I was like, oh boy. It was in not an Arnie film, but he was in Mars Attacks and many, many other films. And Erlen Van Lith, who played
Dynamo.
Dynamo, was in there was one other film he was in, but I've forgotten what it is off the top of my head. I didn't write it down. The most notable thing about him is he died about 2 months after filming completed.
Damn. When he got 34 or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, he was in his mid-30s. He was a big
Yeah.
guy. He didn't seem that
Jesus.
big though.
No.
I mean, it's just genetics, right? But yeah, that was all of the trivia that I had.
Excellent. Yeah, the other stuff we covered as we went along. Cool. So I guess the final verdict, does it hold up?
Yes.
Hell
Yes,
yeah.
it does.
Hell
Yeah, it does.
It's really fun. Really, really fun. It's not awesome, but it is fun. You know, it's a film I would definitely watch again.
Yeah. What more do you want? What more do you want?
Yeah. Great. All right. Well, I guess it's your turn. What is the next episode's nomination?
So I thought long and hard about this, and I'm going to go something with an all-star cast. All-star cast. So in this film, we have Jack Nicholson, Michael J. Fox, Jack Black, Sarah Jessica Parker, Pierce Brosnan, Glenn Close, Martin Short, also in it, Natalie Portman, and Annette Bening. What film am I talking about?
You're, of course, talking Mars Attacks.
Mars Attacks.
You forgot someone,
Mars
though.
Attacks.
You forgot Tom Jones.
And Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
It's stacked. It's a stacked cast. Yes, you're right. It is an acting performance for the ages from Mr. Tommy Jones.
Excellent. I have Tom Jones. Tommy Lee Jones. No,
I was like, well, I got confused there. Tommy Lee Jones is in it. No, he's not.
Tommy Jarvis, is there? No. Yeah. I have genuinely not watched this movie for about 20 years. So that'd be a nice trip down memory lane watching that.
I remember loving it when I was young, but it's well regarded by people who think to be a bad Tim Burton film.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think we went to the cinema. I think a bunch of us, like school friends, about 12 of us, all went to watch it in Gravesend, if I remember correctly. But yeah, great.
That's the kind of thing we would have done.
Yep, absolutely. All right, cool. Well, last bit of housekeeping before we get out of here. Just want to plug our socials. You can reach us on email at itdoesn'tholduppodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram at itdoesn'tholduppodcast. We're on Twitter, or X as it's now known, at Doesn't Hold Up Pod. We're on YouTube at It Doesn't Hold Up Podcast, and we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other good places you listen to podcasts. And remember, please do give us a good review on all your podcast platforms, and we do welcome all suggestions for things for us to cover, so keep those coming in. Smith, is there anything else you would like to say about The Running Man?
Only this, Stuart. I'll be back.
Only in a rerun.